I ended things with a guy who treated me like a princess and would have been the best husband to me.
I am fucking done. I am done. I am done begging a mother to love me. Done begging him to spend time with me.
I know if I dated him, he would never break my heart. Telling him I'm just not into that.
Satisfying a woman today is an impossible task, constantly jumping through hoops for nothing.
If I'm being honest, sometimes I get really offended by the type of men that hit on me sometimes.
If there's a certain lifestyle that you want, then why are you dating a broke man?
Men act like women have these insanely high standards.
Men aren't acting like anything. The truth is, modern women do have unrealistic standards. Kindly subscribe to the channel, as it is our sole form of support. Thank you.
So dating these days is literally impossible. No one is actually single. We're all in like 6 different imaginationships, 2 different situationships, and then we're all still hung up on that toxic ex who literally ain't shit, but we just cannot get over.
How much money does a guy need to make in order to be with you long term?
$250,000 a year, minimum.
Okay, $250,000 a year. What do you bring to the table?
A lot of things.
Name them.
This is one of them.
So that's all you got?
I'm out of here. I gotta get me found.
You can get that from any girl, though.
No, I got a lot more than that.
I just got back from going on one date with this guy who is just so nice, so kind. Like, I know if I dated him, he would never break my heart. Telling him I'm just not into that. And now I have a date with this other guy, completely different vibes. I get player vibes.
Remember, women punish the nice guys and reward the players. Don't be the next victim on her list. This type of woman is often emotionally damaged, and she would rather be with the player than the nice guy, even when the nice guy has shown he would never do her wrong. Despite having dated good men who treated her with respect and kindness, she still gravitates toward the thrill and drama that come with being involved with players. Instead of appreciating the consistency and care of a good man, they chase after men who are unreliable, manipulative, and ultimately harmful to their emotional well-being. It's not surprising to see this happen anymore, because this cycle has become so common. What's even more predictable is that these same women always end up asking, "Where are all the good men?" later in life.
My intuition is already telling me everything that I already need to know.
If a woman's intuition was everything that it's supposedly cracked up to be, then there wouldn't be so many divorced women out there. Not to mention all those single mothers.
If your wife can spend more than you make, like you need to make more money, 150 maybe to 250,000 a year would be comfortable for sure. The more the merrier.
300,000? Like, I guess if they made less than that, I feel like we wouldn't have the lifestyle I wanted, so I would work. Life's expensive.
Anywhere from 70 to 100K. I would have to say 127. $500,000? Is that bad?
Probably 150 to $250,000 a year.
Ideally, my husband needs to be making like 650,000.
I just love when modern women throw out these completely unrealistic numbers they expect their man to make in a year. These are clearly women who have no idea about the type of man they're trying to attract. Some of them are out here looking for men in the top 1%, as if those men are everywhere and just waiting to scoop them up. What's even crazier is that they often bring very little to the table themselves, but still feel entitled to these high-earning men. Has it ever occurred to them that the reason they're single is because of these delusional standards? A man making that kind of money is likely looking for a partner who adds peace, value, and stability to his life, not someone who's only interested in his paycheck. These women don't understand that men in that top tier have their pick of partners and aren't going to choose someone with an inflated sense of entitlement and unrealistic demands. That's just a reality.
Men are typically expected to court women, approach women, ask them out on dates, maybe pick them up, pay for dates, make the first move, etc. What are women expected to do to build a relationship? So I'm talking about that initial stage. What are women expected to do?
Wait, so are we saying that, like, Are we saying that like like he takes you out on a date? Like,
No, he's like, so like when you're like, let's say like the first date, like usually on a first date, like a guy picks you up, like he takes you there and he's like expected to pay, but like what are like you expected to do, kind of like in these like dating like scenarios?
Just be yourself.
Bring good conversation.
Be yourself. Like, are you expected to impress him? Do you want to do a party trick? I don't know.
I feel like when you're like, let's say like usually on a first date,
I really wonder how these types of questions would be answered if we took away the word like.
American men are just leaving those American women behind. Also for another reason, they don't want children. American women have forgotten that their main purpose in life is literally to procreate and create new life with a man of their choice, or men of their choice. But all they're concentrated on now is dating, pumping up their money, right? From as many Tinder dates as they possibly can, and just staying single, valuing my freedom. Like, I just want to live like how I live and meet different people and have new experiences. But it doesn't really work like that. If you come to England, for example, people have children quite young. If you go to Asia, 16 pregnant, you know, they start families very young. They really value families. American men seem to be, in my opinion, very family orientated. They generally want kids. It's the women that don't. And if anyone wants to explain to me why they think that is, please do let me know. Thank you.
Biggest mistake I made as an American successful man was getting married and having kids. Western women are anti-accountability and responsibility. They want power and wealth. Without any of that, children would mean they have to be those things. It's best to just leave women alone. If you're lucky when they leave you, she will only take half of what you have worked your whole life for. Men will sacrifice their happiness for their family. Women will sacrifice their family for their happiness. American men want a partner, not an opponent, and that's why they're leaving the West. These Western women today are combative, aggressive, and not agreeable. They have all the requirements to drive men away, but lack the qualities to keep them. Instead of fostering relationships built on mutual respect, understanding, and teamwork, many modern Western women seem to thrive on conflict, turning every interaction into a debate or power struggle. Men are tired of feeling like they have to prove their worth constantly, or tiptoe around someone who views them more as an adversary than an ally. The truth is, no man wants to spend his life battling with someone who refuses to meet him halfway. Men crave a relationship where they can feel respected, loved, and supported, not one where they feel like they're fighting for basic kindness or cooperation. Until Western women realize that their combative and aggressive nature is pushing men away, the exodus of American men to find wives abroad will only continue.
The truth is that most women lose a good guy because of the bad advice from their toxic, single, and jealous friends.
I agree.
Should a man pay for everything when it comes to the woman he's courting and the woman he wants to marry and be the mother of his children? Absolutely. He should want to never let her hand touch the bill. He should want to spoil her and love her and cater to all of her wants and her needs. Granted that she is also being the most amazing, beautiful, divine partner that she can be towards him. Should he? Yes. Can he always? No. I understand the economic limitations of today's society. I'm very, very aware of them. But regardless of whether he can or can't, inside, he should want to more than anything.
Are you stupid?
Women want the benefits of traditionalism without reciprocating. It's a scam. Now, in the scenarios she's giving, it depends on how much the man is making and if he wants to do such a thing. If that woman is worthy of such treatment, bringing a man value, and he has the funds to do it, he will have no issue doing so at all. But again, beauty fades, the laws are against men, and these modern women today are not the same ones as back then. So for most men today, It's a big hell no. The harsh reality is that many men today don't see the value in such arrangements anymore, especially when they're fully aware of the risks. Divorce courts favor women heavily, leaving men to pay alimony and lose assets. This isn't about men being unwilling to provide. It's about men being unwilling to be taken advantage of. Back then, traditional women brought loyalty, kindness. Today, modern women expect traditional benefits, but want to contribute nothing more than their presence.
Men have the hardest job in keeping women happy. You can't let us get too hot or too cold. You got to make sure you have a little snacky so that we don't get hangry. We love it when you're a cute, funny naughty, not a creepy pervert. We want you to support and take care of us, but know that we are strong, independent women and we can take care of ourselves. There is always such a fine fucking line, and you never know if you're on the right side of it, because if you get it right, we change all the rules. Men are the easiest creatures to keep happy. You got to feed them, fuck them, and appreciate them.
I agree.
Okay, not to be shallow or anything, but if I'm being honest, sometimes I get really offended by the type of men that hit on me sometimes. Like, yeah, is it only me?
A lot of women who say stuff like this are actually average women, but they don't see themselves as average because they're hiding behind a pile of makeup. That makeup creates an illusion, making them believe they're some type of baddie, when in reality, they're just like everybody else. The issue is, they've bought into the illusion themselves, and as a result, they get offended when average guys approach them because they believe they're royalty. They genuinely think only the best of the best, high-value men, should even dare to approach them. But here's the thing. Isn't it just common sense that if the type of men you want aren't approaching you, it probably means you're not on their radar for a reason? Whether it's your attitude, demeanor, or what you bring to the table, something isn't adding up. High-value men aren't just looking for looks or a facade. They're looking for substance, qualities that can't be masked by makeup.
One day when I returned home from work, I found that my house was empty of furniture and clothes. My family was gone, my dog was gone, our bank accounts were emptied of tens of thousands of dollars. My wife had run away without any warning or explanation, and like Kevin McAllister's experience in the movie Home Alone, my family simply disappeared. She hasn't spoken to me since, but after years of fighting in court and through state agencies, I now have my children every other week, and while everything may look okay now, it did not come easy. Despite having taken all of our money, I learned that my wife was using a legal aid service funded by public and private grants to zealously represent her while attempting to steal away my entire life, and made multiple attempts to restrain me from my own children and my home. There was no domestic violence. My point is that services paid for with our tax dollars were weaponized against me, and in my story, this was only the beginning. Also worth mentioning, the legislation that one thinks would protect people from false allegations of domestic violence, the supposed third-degree felony, it's completely unenforced, leaving the targeted parent to defend himself from the indefensible, blindsided without similar legal support from public grants, and immediately assumed to be guilty before proven innocent. Today I'm an advocate. I've experienced firsthand how unwilling the family law system is to demonstrate flexibility, schedule timely hearings, enforce orders, return phone calls, or otherwise share communication to share agency policies, and to seek clarity or correct misunderstandings. It is now a world in which, to these agencies, a family is worth more financially in conflict than in harmony.
Weddings are just a fashion show for women to show up with their friends. And yet, women are so willfully ignorant to ask why men don't want to get married in this society anymore. Greed has destroyed the American family. Men are destroyed to extract their wealth. Never will I put myself through this. It's a travesty how lopsided family courts are against fathers. This is exactly why men are refusing to marry in the West. They can wake up one day and have everything they've ever worked for taken away, simply because a woman feels unhappy. Divorce laws in many Western countries are heavily skewed against men, leaving them vulnerable to losing their homes, savings, and even custody of their children without any real justification. Take this man, for example. His wife took everything and ran away without even giving him a single explanation as to why. Stories like his are far too common, and they highlight the imbalance in how marriage and divorce are handled. For many men, the risks far outweigh the rewards. They're expected to provide and sacrifice, yet there's no guarantee of loyalty or even a fair resolution if things go wrong. The emotional toll of such betrayals, coupled with the financial devastation, makes marriage in the West feel more like a gamble than a partnership.
All right, I'm 32 years old. I'm 5'2". I weigh 200 pounds. Super smart and caring. All 4 holes are acceptable. Like, why am I still single?
If a man doesn't pay for your dinner, it sends the wrong message to the female. It says, you're going to have to fend for yourself. At a true female's core, she craves stability and security. So when a man opts for you to split the bill or make you pay half, it makes you question your future with him.
I'm done with situationships with guys who are just using me because, they want to sleep with me or they just, want to hook up with me or something like that.
She's just done with all the chads that won't give her attention because they can get younger women. She friend-zoned the good guy while giving it up easily to chads. Nothing new. What she's saying is she's tired of all the bad choices she keeps making with guys who obviously are just balling her. Modern women are racking up mileage from test drives, and they want some simp to pay the whole price. Of course, this again. This is a woman who's been in countless situationships, bouncing from one meaningless fling to another, and after being smashed and passed by men who never saw her as more than a temporary option, she suddenly claims to have realized her value. But really, what value is there? These are the same women who ignored good men for years, only to start looking for them after they've had their fun and wasted away their most precious years. It's almost like clockwork. When the attention starts to fade, when the players move on to someone younger, and when the consequences of their choices start to set in, these women decide it's time to settle down. But by then, the value they once had, their youth, their innocence, their ability to inspire trust, has diminished. Too late.
I really don't appreciate shit. And this is why chivalry is dead. This is why men don't want to do shit for us anymore. Because the minute you start to not appreciate, but expect shit, I'm not doing it for you. And I'm a woman and I feel that way. And I know men that feel that way. I don't have to do anything for you but respect you. I don't have to send you money. I don't have to spend money on you. I don't have to do any of that. That's something I want to do.
I agree.
But what I'm saying is, if women didn't like being approached by men, why wouldn't they just go to gay clubs?
I don't really find nothing about this. I just think if you go to a gay club, then obviously first of all, I don't think it's respectful to.
Gotcha.
Men act like women have these insanely high standards.
Well, if we're being completely honest here, a good number of them do.
If you actually talk to a woman and asked her what she's looking for, it all kind of boils down to, I want someone who loves me and respects me.
Let's continue with the brutal honesty here. That is what a large number of reasonable women want. However, unfortunately for the vast majority of those reasonable women, those are not the loudest women.
And somehow men still have a problem with that.
Again, no. Actually, most reasonable men don't.
Because at the end of the day, most straight men do not actually like women. They like what women can give them, but they don't actually like or care about women.
I wonder, what particular part of the ether, or rather should I say, the modern feminist handbook, are these sorts of ideas exactly being pulled from?
That's why so many of them are involuntarily celibate.
I wonder, was the whispering an attempt to try to sell that idea a little bit more? Because actually, most men aren't involuntarily celibate. They're choosing to remain alone where they can find peace.
Men act like women have unrealistic expectations because they do. It's not an act. In reality, most Western women today genuinely have standards and expectations that are completely detached from what they bring to the table. If women didn't have these inflated requirements, men wouldn't need to point them out or call them out so often. The issue is glaringly obvious in the way many modern women demand the best without being willing to reciprocate or even self-reflect on what they offer in return. These expectations are often shaped by social media, unrealistic ideals, and a culture that promotes entitlement. Women believe they deserve a man who is tall, wealthy, emotionally available, loyal, and ready to provide them with the lifestyle of their dreams. Yet, these same women often lack the qualities high-value men are looking for, such as femininity, cooperation, peace, loyalty, and self-awareness. Instead, they bring entitlement, baggage, and an attitude of "take me as I am," without considering that relationships require mutual effort and value. The disconnect becomes even more evident when you consider how many women expect a man to check off every box on their list while disregarding his standards.
People be like, she's a gold digger, she wants a guy with money. I'm trying to look for my husband and the father of my children. Why would I not want a guy that has a provider mindset? Why would I not want a guy that can provide financial stability for my future family? So yeah, I'm going to make sure that whoever I am dating to be the father of my children and my husband, I'm going to make sure that he is financially stable so that my children don't suffer.
So I was just thinking about this, and let me know what y'all think. But there has been times where I will be talking to a man and I won't be feeling it, and people will be like, why? And I'll be like, he's just too nice. And people will look at me like I'm stupid. They'll be like, what do you mean he's too nice? You want somebody mean? And I figured it out. It's not that I want somebody mean. It's just what I'm looking for in a man is masculine energy that is dominant over my masculine energy so it can bring out my feminine energy. Does that make sense? If I feel like I have more masculine energy than you do, then I feel like you can't really be dominant over me and I can't be submissive and my feminine energy can't come out. Does that make sense?
Well, if that's the case, then I need a feminine woman to bring out my masculine energy. Women love to say they need a man to bring out their femininity because they aren't naturally feminine themselves. Let's be real. Either those qualities are in a woman or they're not. Femininity isn't something you flip on like a switch when a man comes around. It's a core part of who you are. When women say this, what they're really expressing is unresolved trauma or emotional baggage they haven't dealt with. Instead of taking accountability for their lack of femininity, they shift the blame onto men, expecting a man to fix them or make them feel safe enough to act feminine. But here's the problem. No one wants to sign up to be a therapist in a relationship. Men aren't out here looking to heal someone's past wounds just so they can experience basic femininity. That's a personal journey they need to address on their own.
Earlier today, you know how they have like the Big Brother program for like, you know, your kids can have siblings?
Right.
They need to do that with good men who want to be a dad to somebody. So that way there's a program to where I take my kids who don't have a father, and I'm damn sure not going to attempt to get one because I cannot stand men in general. They make me want to throw my skin crawl. But that way my kids would be able to go to a place to experience what it's like to have a dad. You know what I mean? Like, think of that. Cause someone come up with that for kids.
Are you stupid?
Genuine question, are the UK men not embarrassed, or actually men of the West? Aren't you so embarrassed that women are now moving to the Middle East to find better men? Middle Eastern men are actually stunting on the men in the West. Like, we are moving across the world to find better men because you men are just such princesses and we can't deal with it anymore. You have no sense of providing. And this isn't about being a gold digger. Like, I buy everything on myself and I'm happy to do that. But this is about more than that. This is about you guys actually being men. Like, you're little princesses. It's crazy to me. Have a think about it. Maybe change. Maybe change. My advice is change. Learn a thing or two from the Middle Eastern man.
To be honest, I don't really think men care where Western women go to find their man. These guys aren't acting like princesses. They just want to avoid getting used by Western women, especially those who have nothing to offer in return. Men are just tired of one-sided relationships where they're expected to give everything while receiving little or no value in return. Many men simply want a partner who brings something meaningful to the table. Modern men are becoming more aware of their worth and are no longer willing to tolerate relationships that drain them, both emotionally and financially. Instead, they're seeking partnerships built on mutual effort, respect, and genuine connection, and they're not afraid to walk away from anything less.
This is how much a man has to make to be considered a high earner based on 400 women that voted. 7% of these women said that a man making over 70K is considered a high earner in their book. 35% of the women said that over 100K is considered a high earner. 42% of women said that 200K and over is considered a high earner, and 16% said over 300K is considered a high earner. You can also look at this data and say that 84% of these women believe a man making over 200K is considered a high earner. Please keep in mind that when I collected this data, a lot of my audience was coming from New York, Los Angeles, and San Diego, where the cost of living and the pay is generally higher.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but men are not jealous of women that make more money than them. They're also not resentful towards the women that make more money than them either. However, they are resentful towards the way that you treat them because you are making more money. How do you expect a man to coexist with a woman that is presenting masculine energy because she's making more money than him? There is absolutely nothing wrong with making more money than a man, but when you start to treat him like he is the woman in the relationship, that is a problem. Men are naturally providers. They want to provide. They will do anything to make sure that they provide for you. But once they feel like they cannot do that for you, you have basically stripped them of their manhood. So now, you making more money is not the problem. It's the way that you choose to act because you do.
That's absolutely correct. The idea that men are intimidated by women who make more money than them is plainly ridiculous. This narrative is often pushed to avoid addressing the real issue, which is that many high-earning women tend to develop attitudes or behaviors that make them less appealing as partners. It's not the money itself that's the problem. It's how some women let their financial success affect their demeanor, relationships, and expectations. Men don't care about a woman's income in the same way women care about a man's. Men are biologically hardwired to provide and protect. They don't look for a partner to take care of them financially. What turns men off isn't a woman's success, but the accompanying traits that sometimes come with it: arrogance, competitiveness, and a lack of cooperation. Men don't want to feel like they're in constant competition with their partner, nor do they want to come home to someone who treats them like an employee or subordinate. A man's desire is for peace and partnership, not power struggles and condescension.
I personally think that men are basically all the same. Men just want a nice, sweet, supportive woman. You don't even have to be that beautiful. Like, don't be fat, like go to the gym, eat healthy, put a little bit of makeup on, not too much. But ultimately, men just want a supportive, kind, sweet woman. He's going to go out there, take on the world, do all these difficult things. And he just wants to go home and know that there's peace, there's food on the table, the house is clean. It's really not that difficult. All men want the same thing.
Not a feminist. I can actually cook.
I'm a feminist. Watch me cook.
Come over and join their team in the ST racing.
Ouch! My opinion, this is why a lot of good men are just done with relationships. Either they got f***ed over or used because you bitches be gold diggers, and when the next comes along, if it's attached to a man that has more money, you're jumping. Or the good man got degraded and spit on the minute he didn't want to buy the bag. Oh, no. Well, just say you're broke. No, I just don't want to buy it for you. If I was a man, I would be like, F this shit, because these are crazy, disloyal, difficult, selfish, and mostly after money. All they provide is headaches, bills, and maybe some type of companionship. Don't sound like a good deal to me. I would just go to dinner, fuck the and move on to the next one, because at this point, this is way too much work to satisfy for little reward. You did that. That's why they don't want no more relationships. And you need to take accountability, but we all know bitches are not really good in that department. So ma'am, when you are home crying, wondering why I can't find a good man, this is why. Look within.
I couldn't agree more. She's absolutely right. A lot of times, these modern women need to look within because they're the ones pushing the good men away. It's easy to blame men or the dating pool for their frustrations, but rarely do these women take a moment for self-reflection. Instead of asking, "Why can't I find a good man?" they should be asking, "What am I doing that might be turning good men off?" Good men are out there, but they're not going to tolerate disrespect, entitlement, or a combative attitude. Modern women often fail to recognize that relationships are a two-way street. They demand traditional chivalry, financial security, and emotional availability from men. Yet they refuse to offer traditional qualities like nurturing, respect, or even basic cooperation. Men who want peace and partnership simply won't stick around for someone who constantly makes them feel inadequate or unappreciated. Instead of looking outward and blaming external factors, these women should take an honest look at their behaviors, attitudes, and priorities.
As someone who's recently been on the dating scene, I have never asked a man what he brings to the table. Which is why I get so annoyed when guys will be doing that in my comments. If you had even an ounce of common sense, you would realise that within pretty much an hour of meeting someone, you know exactly what they bring to the table. And the question makes you look really dumb. I've never been asked that by the guys I go on dates with because I have a specific caliber, let's say. It's only like broke guys in my comments that want to know what I bring to the table. Honestly, it just shows me and any other girl that's looking at those comments who you are and that you're broke.
3 kids, you've never been married. You're not a prize. Then I got to thinking, that's why she don't like Kevin Samuels. It was just hot girl summers. You know, when they were hot and during the summers, they spent their time out going through men. And now they find themselves in a place where nothing is good enough. You know why? Because they've had just about all of it.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
Women is mad because look at her, she's pretty and she's a housewife and she takes care of 2 kids. It's not our fault. They didn't even say that we steal their men. No, we don't steal your men. Do your men come in here?
I mean, after seeing all of this, can you really blame these men for going overseas to find a traditional wife? These women are cultured, family-oriented, and have a deep understanding of what it means to nurture a relationship. They value stability, loyalty, and the family unit in a way that has become increasingly rare in the West. For men who are seeking genuine connections and lasting commitment, the appeal of traditional wives is undeniable. They're not looking for someone who's obsessed with instant gratification or who defines their self-worth through likes and fake hearts on social media. Western women have become so consumed by the superficial aspects of modern life, attention-seeking behaviors, social media validation, and the constant pursuit of momentary pleasures, that they've lost sight of what truly makes a relationship meaningful. The constant rush for instant satisfaction has led to an entitlement mindset, where everything is expected to come easily, without effort, patience, or mutual respect. Relationships are no longer about emotional connection or deep partnership, but rather about quick fixes, convenience, and self-promotion.
Here's why the guys should always pay for the first date. Okay, so it's pre-date and post-date expenses. I'm gonna start with pre-date. Guys, post-date, a lot more taxing, but the pre-date are pretty self-explanatory and they're probably unique to each person. These are the things a woman goes through to feel the most confident on a date. I don't want to hear in the comments like if this hits the wrong algorithm. We don't ask you to do those things. I don't give a fuck. You've been conditioned, and to feel most comfortable, we're gonna do these things. It's making sure your nails are done. You like the way your hair looks. Taking the time to shave. It's the cost of an Uber. Last time I did something like this, somebody was like, no, the guy's coming to pick me up. I don't know how safe that is. I'd prefer to take the Uber and I'd prefer to have it on my account. It's the lack of feeling of safety when you're meeting a guy for the first time. Teeth whitening. It's the time, resources, energy. I love getting ready, but like girls know, getting ready for a first date, having the outfit, feeling confident, There are steps involved. And here are the post-date expenses. And I need to book an emergency session with your therapist. You are going to need a back brace from carrying the conversation. And I need a ticket to a comedy show just to prove that funny men exist. It's funny, I was looking up like male comedians. I wanted to find one that was like popular but not problematic. Nearly impossible. Stop saying women aren't funny. Women are the funniest right now. I wanted to put Nikki Glaser up there. You're gonna need a teddy bear just to save you from all the nightmares you're gonna have from what you saw growing under his fingernails. You're gonna need to drink it off with some friends. You're gonna need to like douse your whole body in mouthwash because of the esophagus kiss that he gave you at the end of the night. This is just for the pain, right? I'm not a man hater. I don't want to hear any of that, but the dating landscape for women right now sucks. So this is just my funny take on it. I hope this hits the women's algorithm and not the men's, because damn, they can't handle it. Anyway, let me know if you agree, if you disagree, if you thought I missed anything, and yeah.
Basically, she's saying she feels entitled to a man paying for the first date because she does basic necessities, things she would have done if she were going anywhere else. Let's break this down. Doing your hair, makeup and nails, or picking out a nice outfit are personal choices and standard grooming habits. These are things you do for yourself, not for anyone else. Expecting a man to foot the bill just because you put effort into your appearance is not only entitled, but also makes no sense. By that logic, should men expect women to compensate them for going to the gym, grooming themselves, or showing up looking presentable? Of course not. Men are also putting in effort, whether it's dressing well, planning the date, or even managing the nerves of trying to impress someone. This entitlement highlights a bigger issue, the transactional mindset many women bring into dating. It's insane.
This is what you said. You said, what's so special about me? Most women aren't special.
Well, that's down to your personal opinion.
No, I'm like, seriously, what do women bring in 2022 that is special?
Nothing.
Do most women have a cookbook? Do most women really know how to cater to a man? No. Are most women virgins on their wedding day? No. So what do most women bring in 2022 that is special?
But why is it all about what we can offer? Why is it always about what we can bring?
Okay,
What's about our values?
because when you're trying to sell a car, if you're trying to get married, right? And please, I'm not saying that women are cars. It's just an analogy. But if you're trying to sell a car, you have to study the buyer and figure out what the buyers want.
Combining pretty with intelligent, strong, successful, slaying at life, you've got a very terrifying woman on your hands.
Okay, and what does that have to do with anything?
A very not easy woman on your hands, right? Men don't like that.
Don't they?
Men do not like me. Men are very, very terrified of me.
Yes, I'm sure that's exactly what it is.
And the men who do like me, the ones that are attracted to me, are unavailable. Men who are in relationships actively.
Has one ever taken a moment to consider why that might be?
And uggo weirdos.
Here's a thought that one might not like. People tend to attract what they are. So they usually attract the unavailable if they themselves are unavailable. And as for the latter, well, I think some introspection might be due in this case.
Because at the end of the day, I am merely just a fantasy. I am not a real human because of the pretty and scary.
Right. Sure is amazing what some people will tell themselves, isn't it?
Madam, I don't think men are terrified of you. They're just tired and annoyed by you. Men aren't afraid of successful women, and they aren't afraid of confident women either. What men are not attracted to are combative women who bring nothing but stress and arguments to the table. She's right about one thing, though. Men absolutely do not like a woman who's not easy to deal with. When men see a woman as hard to deal with, they see a lifetime of headaches and drama. And honestly, who wants to sign up for that? It's not about being submissive or weak. It's about being cooperative, understanding, and knowing how to create harmony in a relationship. And this woman just seems like she's bringing attitude and red flags. What's worse is that many of these women mistake being argumentative and difficult for being strong or independent, when in reality, it's just exhausting. Men aren't looking for someone to fight with. They're looking for someone to build with. She's just going to push men away.